He spraddled out on his face in the mud. There before the idol he'd called a god. For his heart was still, and his mind was still, his blood was still, and his flesh went clammy, and his bones grew cold. And the idol in the heart of the king of the Irish blew away like words spoken in the icy air. The true self of Iighernmas arrived where he always was, and the false self was forgotten, like a dream when one wakes to no time for dreaming. Like the shadow of a bird's wings across the grass, like the frost on the tallest twig when the sun leaps over the mountains, the god in the king was gone. Gone, gone. Death opened Iighernmas' hand. There was nothing in it. Death searched the body. There was no God in it. Death rifled his pocket. There was no God in it. Death poked into all the crevices of the cold king, and it was only a corpse that began to speak. They left him there, the king, and all the courtiers he'd clothed in silk, the toadies who wore snakeskin, the yes-men in the best business suits. They walked off, and those who didn't walk off ran. Business elsewhere, new careers to make, apologies to make, lies to make, who had the time to bury a corpse in a land he'd made desolate. For all but the gold of the idol of Crom was a desolation, was hunger, pain, grief, want, regret, blame, and shame. Pity the king? Who'd pity the king? What mother's arms were there but ached for the child taken to Crom? What man was there but in shame to forget that Crom was his middle name? Only some gypsies, hated by all, came to the place where Iighernmas had his fall. People of wandering, homeless under the sky, without things to own, without pride, with no God to take with them, no gold to keep, for their gold hid in the sunrise and fleeted always, stealing for their need from their brothers and sisters who had more than they need. Came gypsies despised of all men, came gypsies delighting in sex, dancing when they could, and weeping when they must, and moving always to music, or sad or merry, with hardly a language that was not poetry. One old woman, or maybe it was a man, too dirt-caked and outcast to say, let out a great wail that shook the sun that was low in the vale at the sight of the dead king lying there, face down in the mud with crows in his hair. She wept, and her loud wailing was the only lament Iighernmas ever had. And that crying, they say, was all the weeping of all the world, with all the sorrow and grief and loss that ever tore bird talons all the hearts of the children of Adam. Her tribe gathered round in sorrow and buried Iighernmas